Hello, and thank you for joining me today on Live with a Purpose. God's glory. What is God's glory? We don't only really understand God's glory until we sort of see something, or we experience an event, or we see the heavens, the skies, the birds, the animals, nature. We see someone healed, some answer to prayer. We don't know what God is doing in the world at all times. Sometimes we can glean, we can discern by things that are happening. But God is always moving in the world, and we have to be confident that God knows what he's doing. Sometimes people say, maybe we say, doesn't God see this? Why doesn't he do something? In some cases, God is allowing certain things to happen. God is moving the pieces so that he might get glory for himself, so that he might reveal his power, his arm, his might. In today's passage, Exodus 14, 1-4, we have the following. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Tell the people of Israel to turn back and encamp in front of Pi-hahiroth, between Migdol and the sea. In front of Baal Zephon you shall encamp, facing it by the sea. For Pharaoh will say of the people of Israel, they are wandering in the land. The wilderness has shut them in. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and he will pursue them. And I will get glory over Pharaoh and all his hosts. And the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord." And they did so. What was God doing? Was God intentionally wanting to turn Pharaoh against his people? Or did God know already that Pharaoh's heart was already hardened prior because of the 10 plagues and because of the embarrassment of having to let thousands and thousands of people go, people that they took on as slaves, as their own property? And God says, no, I'm greater. Pharaoh was a God to his people, and he had to show faith, although he had already lost. He had nothing else to lose. And so God said, I'm going to harden his heart. I'm going to help him be even harder. I'm going to set the pieces so that he will be enticed to do that which he wants to do anyway. But I'm going to get glory for myself. And this is where the people begin to clamor and cry and said, we're backed up against the sea. But God had something in mind. He was going to reveal a great miracle, a great feat, to show that he has power over nature, and he divided the sea in two so that the people might walk through dry land. And of course, we know the way the story ends. The Pharaoh's hosts, those that were with him, that went after them, all drowned. So what was God doing? Well, God said he's going to get glory. That is, he is going to reveal himself. God doesn't do it just for sort of doing its sake. He knows who he is. He's doing it for our sake, so that we might know, so that we might see his mighty hand, so that we might see that he has control, he has dominion over all things. And God is always trying to show us that we need to depend on him, that no matter how difficult the situation is, where we figure there's no way, this is never going to come to fruition, this is never going to turn around. That's it. There's no going back. This is embarrassing. I don't know what's going to happen. He wants us to confide in him, to trust him, that he is our glory. He is the lifter of our heads, as the psalm says. So let's trust in him, and let's discern what is happening. And before we panic, before we stress out, let us pray to him and seek his guidance for peace and grace. Thank you for joining me today on Live with a Purpose.